YB stays on your neck.
What am I really gaining from that? I'm a fighter. I've come through from my 16th fight, took on the world, and I consistently done that. And then I was taking on Ruiz, and it was like, for me as a fighter, look at, what's his name? Fury's gonna fight Otto Wallin. No one talks about that. I fought Otto Wallin as an amateur in 2000 and something. Like, these guys are like, they're the cream of the crop. They shouldn't be fighting them type of people.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So we just heard there from Anthony, ruthless Joshua Anthony, completely mugging off the Tyson, the gypsy pussy hole. That's what we do know. Fury don't want no problems with no one unless you're, actually tell a lie. Let me apologise actually, all you Fury fans out there. Fury himself, I do apologise. To say Fury don't want smoke with no one is actually a fundamental lie, because, as I said, in Fury's defence, he is active. Unfortunately for us though, unfortunately for true boxing fans, he's not active, having proper fights. He's fighting stiffs, complete stiffs that no one gives a blow about. Not even one bit of a blow about. And people can sit there and say, oh, YB, you say this all the time. Well, unfortunately, it needs to be said, because who else is saying it? No one else is saying it. I've noticed really recently, there's this whole little cult following, and it seems to be anyone who not even supports, the YB doesn't actually support anyone. I go where the facts go. And as it so happens, AJ, before his, even up until his Ruiz loss, AJ has a top 5, in fact a top 3 all-time heavyweight record. Bottom line, you lot can sit there and argue the toss. I've told you before. Come at me. Someone please come at me with stats, please. Show me stats that show AJ is not a top 5, not a top 5 now, not a top 5 in the last 10 years. Anthony Joshua has a top 5, or sorry, even a top 3 all-time heavyweight record. That is honestly the truth. Look at Ali. Ali didn't fight Liston until his 23rd fight, I believe it was, and that was his first proper fight. Look at all the other ones. No one, even Mike Tyson as an example, he wasn't fighting no one until he was into his late 20s or whatever, in terms of late 20s fights. AJ was fighting Vlad in his 17th fight. An all-time great in his 17th fight. No one ain't doing that, unfortunately. And you got to bear in mind as well, this is the heavyweight game. The heavyweight game is renowned for easy and quick knockouts. Therefore, many people also like to gain their confidence. So historically speaking, heavyweights are known for having 30 blowout fights when they knock people over. AJ comes off a very short amateur career, and believe it or not, yes, he won the Olympics, but in reality, was AJ's skill set really gold medal proven? No, it wasn't. I'm sorry, it wasn't. He won that. Yes, he got the gold medal, but what I'm trying to say is he wasn't like a Lomachenko who's won. Like, that makes sense. A Lomachenko gold medal and an AJ gold medal are two different things. Meaning the class or the skill level Lomachenko was at when he won his gold medal was leaps and bounds above AJ because of age and experience. That said, the fact AJ actually won the gold medal goes on to prove how deep his natural attributes and his natural genetics are. I've said it before. AJ is, genetically speaking, one of the most gifted athletes in history. That's the truth of it. And that's how he's been able to get into the sport and literally in less than 4 years. He didn't even touch boxing until 2008, 2009, I don't believe. 4 years, from 0 to 4 years. Now, I've said myself, I've represented Great Britain myself on obviously not on a Olympic level, but not far off the stage before Olympic level. And I was doing my sport since I was 9 years old, and I got to that stage about 10 years later. For him to come in, for him to rock in and get to Olympics in 4 years is unheard of. No one does that, and that just goes to show how. And his bottom line is, I'm rating his genetics here, but it's not just physically. It's not just genetically, physically gifted, but also psychologically so. Because the confidence you must have, like, it's hard enough when you've been in a sport 10 years to have the confidence and dare to win. Never mind coming in 4 years. Imagine the doubt you'd have, knowing, wait a minute, I've only even started boxing 3 years, and here I am in the Olympic final. And many people like to sit there and say, oh, he didn't win he didn't win this, he didn't win that. The dudes he was boxing, they were these Cubans, they were in the game 20 years. So from my point of view, even if he did even if it wasn't the hardest route, or even if he did get a bit of a favour, you got to bear in mind the bit of favours he didn't get from a home crowd. Number one, many other nations have benefited from a home crowd, and number two, that doesn't make up for only being in the sport 3 years. I'll tell you this for free. If I had a choice between having 15 years of amateur experience or having a home crowd, I'm taking the 15 years of amateur experience every time. But still, they couldn't overcome that. Yeah? The home nation advantage, it's marginal. It's not difference between first and not making even the team, or it's not difference between first and 10th. That's the truth of it. And still, all them cats that AJ was boxing with couldn't do squat with him. Too much genetics, too much gifted. And the reason I say all that is to point out, when all these dudes like Fury and Wilder, they want to wrangle on. Meanwhile, AJ, who ain't even been in the sport long, he's doing things that other people can't even fathom. Like he said himself. This for me epitomises it. AJ, amateur, fights Wallin. Don't know what he did to him. I assume he knocked him spark out, or either way, he busted him up. Meanwhile, AJ, what's Fury doing? Fury's fighting him now after being the self-proclaimed lineal champion. The self-proclaimed lineal champion is now fighting the guy who AJ fought damn near 10 years ago. And anyway, I've been in a bit of a tirade there, but the reason I gave you that background is to prove to you I go with facts. And no one can argue with the facts. You notice everyone who comes at me sideways about Fury and about Beyonce, they ain't got no facts. What are you going to tell me? Oh, yeah, man, Deontay Wilder, man. He fought a good fighter in his 50th fight, mate. Or Fury. What's Fury been doing? It took Fury 25 fights to fight Vlad and then ran off. Didn't want no parts or no rematch. And the worst thing is, he won that fight. Fury won the fight and didn't want no rematch. Meanwhile, AJ loses a fight and he's all over it. He's not... Listen, I don't think a lot of you understand or appreciate how much AJ is over this rematch. He's all over it. There's not even a... we can all appreciate how big and surface areaed Andy Ruiz's belly is, but AJ, despite how globular Andy Ruiz is, AJ is all over him and all over this rematch. That's why AJ had no problem. If AJ was shook, he'd be saying we're going back to the UK. He had no problem, neutral venue, no problem. And in fact, AJ even told Ruiz, I'll knock you out in front of your uncle in Mexico, no problem. Ruiz didn't want it in Mexico. That's the truth of it. I'm sorry to exclusively break this news, but I've heard this from inside AJ's camp. AJ's team actually proposed going to Mexico and doing that and blocking Ruiz down in his hometown. And you know what Ruiz said? He said,
AJ, I'm not so sure. I think it's probably best doing it not in my hometown. I don't want to get knocked out in my hometown. I don't want my family to have post-traumatic stress. I don't want 100 Mexicans see me laying flat on my back. That's what you've heard the recording there, admitting it. There's the Andy Ruiz confession. He admits he didn't want it in Mexico because he didn't want to get laid flat on his back in front of everyone. Because it's all well and good. This is the thing people don't realise. When you win the this is the difference here. Winning the lottery is not the same as a Jeff Bezos. And this is what many people are not really understanding at the moment. They're seeing Ruiz as this Jeff Bezos kind of character who's set up a business and a proven track record and has really created some true value, has really added value to the world. And they're seeing what they're doing is they're thinking, right there, well, Jeff Bezos has X amount of billions, and a lottery winner has X amount of billions. If there was, I know they're not. If it was, what I'm trying to say is, you've got lottery winners and you've got Jeff Bezos. Andy Ruiz is a lottery winner. He won the lottery. Yeah? It so happened, the only reason Andy Ruiz won is actually thankful to Wilder and Fury. Because if Wilder and Fury had nuts, then AJ would have gone in June 1st, knocked Ruiz out, and then marched forward to knock Beyonce Wilder out. But as it happened, Hearn and AJ, they were bored of making these low 8.5 figures. We can make 10, 15 million, 20 million. We want the big one. We want the Mayweather money. How can we do that? Hearn came along and laid out the master plan. AJ, take a fall against Ruiz and bang, there you go. We've somehow created a fight twice as big as the Wilder fight. Literally twice as big as the Wilder fight out of nothing. And that's what they're not understanding that. They're actually, and this is what, so you can tell about these casual fans, they've actually bigged up Ruiz to be something he ain't. He is a lottery winner. That's it. And you're about to find out in devastating fashion the lottery he won. And this is the worst part. I feel a bit guilty because I keep mentioning the lottery winner, but the only thing he's won is a one-way ticket to Asgard. Now, I talk about how Tyson Fury invented the Asgardian dialect. But on December 7th, 2019, there's going to be another Don who can speak the language. I've tried it myself. I know when you hear me try and, when you hear me try and speak the language, it's not as clear, it's not as clean, but don't worry. We have one dude who he is proficient, he is fluent in Asgardian, Andy Ruiz. People talk about, the training Andy Ruiz is doing. The only training he's doing, I've heard it from his camp. He's having Asgardian lessons. He's learning how to speak the Murmur dialect. That's the truth of it. Honestly, he's not even in the gym. You lot are wondering why is Andy Ruiz looking so fat? The only thing he's got to prepare for is to make sure when he's flat on his back, he can speak language. That's all he needs to do, seriously. All jokes aside, that's all he needs to do. He didn't want it in Mexico, and he didn't want it nowhere else. He wants it well away from his family, and people sit there and laugh about, why do you only go to the UK? UK's too close to Mexico. UK's too close to the US. They want it far away as possible. So hopefully the news transmissions don't make it to Mexico. Because trust me, he's come back with no belts. And then he can talk about, my protection. He can probably blame it on, I know what he'll do. He'll go back to Mexico and talk about how he got robbed in Saudi and, my belts, I got robbed and the protection wasn't there. You've already heard him laying out the baselines here. Anyway, God knows what I've been rambling on about this video, but let's try and bring it back to the topic. Listen, Fury. I know I haven't spent much time talking about Fury, but in reality, that's how it should be. Because there ain't nothing to talk about with Fury. He might, why be, this video is meant to be about Fury, why is it talking about Andy Ruiz? Because Fury is irrelevant. He's fighting Otto Wallin. No word of a lie, yeah. Believe it or not, I actually didn't have a clue he was fighting this weekend until about a day ago. Seriously, and even now it doesn't even feel like he's fighting. Honestly, it doesn't. This whole week I haven't even known until like 10 hours ago. That's how, this is awful, man. Completely awful. Madly awful, and that's why you see Fury now kind of begging about, Wilder. Deontay, fight me, Deontay, please, Deontay, don't make me fight more bums, Deontay. I feel a bit sorry for Fury because he's actually realised now, and the 40 fans he had are actually down to about 5 or 6 now. Seriously, I guarantee you, I've seen the BT numbers. I've got insiders inside Frank Warren's company. I've got insiders inside BT. They've showed me the pay-per-views. Yeah? At 4 a.m. in the morning, Fury versus Schwartz generated 40 pay-per-view sales. That's take it as you want. Don't make a scrap of difference to me. I'm just telling you the numbers. If you don't want to know numbers, don't click the video. It's simple. Yeah? He sold 40 pay-per-views. That's how many fans he's got. 40. Not even, that's it, 40 fans. And this Otto Wallin, I've got, you know how businesses work these days. They look at big data, they do a lot of forecasting, a lot of modelling. And this Fury versus Wallin, this is trending around 6 pay-per-view buyers. And that's the truth of it. So Fury's lost 34 fans in the last 2 months because he's fighting a bum. Anyway, let me finish off by saying this. And this is, funny enough, 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago when I actually started this rant, I started off by saying there's this whole little crowd that's building up. And this whole crowd, you'll notice it. It's like anyone who supports AJ or supports Max, not even, like I said, as I said, not even supports, but anyone who goes by the facts and see how valuable and premium, what's the word? And premium, what does Eddie Hearn do? He commands. Anyone who values Eddie Hearn, anyone who sees how premium commanding Eddie Hearn is, anyone who sees how great Anthony Joshua's record's been to date. And by the time he's laid Ruiz out, it's going to be even greater. But anyone who sees that is apparently a casual. And anyone who sucks off Frank Warren, anyone who sucks off Fury is apparently a hardcore. You lot are the true mugs. Anyone who believes that. Maybe it's just me, but I see this whole crowd at the moment. Oh yeah, bash Eddie Hearn. Oh yeah, bash AJ. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, suck Fury off though. Yeah, suck. So I just don't understand it. It's literally the opposite. Because while you man are sucking off Fury for fighting 2 bums, AJ's in there fighting Ruiz, and I'm telling you now for free, even though AJ's going to flatten Ruiz, Andy Ruiz will deal with Wilder, Andy Ruiz will deal with Fury, and I guarantee you, neither of them two will mention Andy Ruiz's name. I feel sorry for him, because people talk about Ruiz, 90-year-old Ortiz being blacklisted, but the way, trust me, Ruiz will be truly blacklisted, because they ain't going to want none of it. We know Wilder can't deal with pressure fighters. Slip, on top of him, that's it, open. You see Andy Ruiz throwing him 5 or 6 punches, that's it, Wilder's done. Fury might have a chance, he might be able to run enough, but even then I don't reckon he will be able to run enough. Because Ruiz is too wide. When you're going to be a runner like Fury has to pivot and kind of skirt out of the back door, but there ain't no back door. Because Ruiz is just a blob. He literally, people talk about cutting the ring off. He's never mind like proactively cutting the ring off. He is cut the ring off. He literally, he is like, I'm trying to think of a better way to say it, but he is the embodiment of cut the ring because he's so damn wide. If you literally measured up the measurements between, because you've got to remember, when you cut the ring off and put someone in a corner, it's almost like a triangle. You're talking about the bottom of a triangle. Ruiz, he is the bottom of a triangle. The whole width of him perfectly fits in. The way I think of it is, when Ruiz is cutting the ring off, you got the 2 ropes and the corner. When Ruiz is in front of them 2 ropes, that's it. It's cut off. You ain't pivoting out the back door. He's on top of you, throwing shots. Not to mention, Fury's a bit soft on the midsection as well. So it's going to be a real cozy. It's going to be a real cozy corner. That is when Ruiz is banging his head off. But we know already. Unlike Fury, AJ can take a shot. That's what people don't realise. Fury. People talk about, oh yeah, AJ got put down 7 times. Oh, AJ got hit with a load of punches. Fury, he won't be hit with a load of punches because the first one that touches him, he'll be flat on his back. But anyway, I've rambled enough, but listen, I'm glad that AJ's coming out and putting on these dudes. I just wish now, all I want to see AJ doing now is actually, when he's around these cats, give it to him then. He's doing it now in interviews, but I want to see him do, I know this one wasn't particularly about Ruiz, but I want to see him doing this when Ruiz is there. I want to see him doing this when Fury is there. Well, we know, to be fair, Fury's never going to be there because he's never going to dare fight him, but do you know what I'm trying to say? I want to see it consistent now. At every opportunity, the same as the YB, at every opportunity, I'm smoking Fury up. I'm smoking Andres de la Ponce Ruiz up. That's how it needs to be from now on. Pure smoke, nothing else.